Gemini, welcome to your Moving On, Moving Forward reading. I hope you're well. I hope you are fabulous. A note about moving on. It is a brand new reading type that I had devised just for this channel, and at this time I anticipate to rotate it every so often, such as the Celtic Cross, Intimate Tarot, that kind of thing. I'll tell you why. The love energies tend to dominate everything, and that's fine. I love the love readings, guys. I love that you trust me with your energies that are so terribly intimate and intricate. I do my best to understand your love energies, theirs, the connections, future-oriented, past-oriented, present-oriented, you name it. We cover all of it. But it has been my observation that those love energies can be so dominant. They take over everything, including the reading types that are meant to be more about the self, such as Celtic Cross and the monthly overviews. In that respect, I created Moving On. And it doesn't have to just be love, guys. We got to get out of that box, that thinking. Moving on suggests anything where we feel we are stuck. We're here, we're meant to get over there, what's going on in between. In that respect, Moving On is a self-portrait of the sign. Just you. This is a non-reversal reading. Strictly self. No them, no they. Do we all have external circumstances that are a right pain in our ass? Absolutely. They pissed me off. I hate my boss. That family member XYZ is being a butthead. That kind of thing. If you're alive, yeah. You're always going to have external influences that are less than ideal. The idea here is, what are we doing about it? How are we processing it? How are we reacting to it? Taking a look again at ourselves. So, the basic rules still apply. Take what resonates, leave what does not. Reversals, however, will not apply. It is strictly the self, and I understand that that can make many people uncomfortable. This is where we separate the boys and the men, and the girls from the women. Casual observers to people who actually want to do real work, and that, my friends, is real tarot. Not about who did what, said what, he said, she said. Real tarot is meant to reflect real life, specifically aimed at the self. And I want to do my part to make sure that that gets infused more and more. Okay? So this is the type of reading that will make you uncomfortable. Okay? No big deal. Skip it. I don't want you to watch anything that would make you uncomfortable or come into conflict with your values. And if you do watch, thank you. But if it's not for you, don't accept the message. It is that simple. When you try to force something to fit that does not, all you do is upset yourself. Just because it says Gemini in the title doesn't mean it's for you. Check your other placements, or I'll catch you on the next one. Alright? We need to do better about separating ourselves from messages that are not intended for us. Okay? It's collective readings. There's a very good chance it will not fit you. And there's a very good chance that portions will, if not the whole thing. There you go. Which is, by the way, I never announce, Sun, Moon, Rising, or Venus. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Because you'd still have to watch to know if it resonated. Okay? So if it's not for you, if it feels like a difficult message that does not apply to you whatsoever, this is what you do. Whew. Well, thank goodness that's not me. Moving on to the next thing. There you go. Also, you will note the comments have been turned off this week as well as last week. I personally needed a break. It takes a lot of work to keep the comment section clean, tidy, and without poor influence. Scammers, trolls, that kind of thing. So I personally needed a break, and it's been nice for me. But also, I have noted the side benefit that with the comments turned off, okay, people have been able to better reflect without influence. I know how tempting it is. You go down to the comments, right? You scroll. Well, I don't know about this. What are other people saying and thinking and feeling? I don't care what other people are saying, thinking, and feeling. How are you processing it? Is it for you or not? What is your reaction? What is your thought? Okay. So, yeah, I think we could all do with a break from influencing from other people. People who have negative commentary, a negative disposition, or just wanting to be aggressive, trolling, bullshitting, sign bashing, all that. So that pressure is gone, at least for these reading types for now. I'll eventually open the comments back open. But for now, we don't have to have that stress. Okay? Of people who watch tarot for all the wrong reasons, and then they spew their filth, and it affects everybody else. Cross-watchers too. This is the time to do some self-reflection. So we don't need other people's influence right now. Okay? All right. That being said, let's get cracking. We're going to start by pulling you a card from the Moonology Manifestation Oracle. Show me what will be beneficial for Gemini at this time to move on, move forward, move on, move forward. How can we advise Gemini at this time, please? Ha! That's you, baby. That is you. That is brilliant. I couldn't have asked for a better oracle. That is fantastic. This is your card. Full moon in Gemini. Embrace the flow of life. Beautiful. Beautiful. Going with the flow, expressing your duality, understand how it all links up. You, the universe, you and your experiences, you and your life path. Embrace the flow of life. Some of you have been resisting a particular flow, and that might have been preventing you from moving on, but it is literally within your power structure and skill set to do exactly that. Sometimes it's easy to go against the flow, especially when we get ingrained in habits and thinking and patterns that are negative instead of positive. And it's easy. It's easy to get caught up in that. And we run against the flow, and all we do is really run against ourselves. So now is the best time for you to embrace your energy as, in fact, we get closer and closer to your season, which I believe goes into effect May 19th, 20th, somewhere thereabouts. Yeah, it's a good time for you, in other words. Your energy hopefully is peaking and spiking in all the right ways. Let's take a look. Show me, what does Gemini need to know in regards to moving on, moving forward, moving on, moving forward, moving on, moving forward. Moving on, moving forward for Gemini, please. Moving on, moving forward for Gemini. What does Gemini need to know? What does Gemini need to know? What does Gemini need to know? What does Gemini need to know at this time? Step 1. The devil. Somebody kicked it off with that same one. Who was it? Oh, good. Was it Virgo? I think it was Virgo. If you have strong Virgo in your chart, again, not doing reversals, I don't care about them or they. But if you do have strong Capricorn in your chart and you know for a fact that it influences you, perhaps check theirs out. That's, I believe they kicked it off straight away as well. The devil. Step 1. Let's take a look at our fears. Let's take a look at our patterns. The shit that holds us back. The devil. And if you say you don't have a devil, I'm going to call you a liar. We all do. Everyone does. Are you alive? You have a devil. It's just a matter to what degree. The advantage of knowing your devil is that you know that if it's a part of your life, you can prevent it from being a pattern. Okay? So, just as an example, let's say my particular devil. I have a very strong tendency to overthink things. And I know for a fact that overthinking holds me back, and it's a delay tactic for me having to make a decision to move forward. See how simple that is? Whatever that devil is to you, it's the one that whispers in your ear and influences you in all the wrong ways, keeps you trapped, keeps you from going with the flow. We give this guy way too much attention, but if we're aware of what our devil is, we can conquer it. We can avoid it. We can not indulge in it. Or I'm sorry, we won't indulge in it the more we are aware of it. Feelings you need to confront. 6 of Cups. Ooh. Soul bond energy here. Again, not doing them in they. It's about your reaction to the connection and the feelings that you feel that might need to go into it in order to address it or move on from it. Okay? All right. Things that are influencing you. You are burdened and weighed down at this time. In other words, it's not convenient, Christina, to confront that connection or those feelings. I know. We all got a 10 of Wands, honey. Some of us more than others. I understand. And it's influencing you at all time. You feel weighed down. You're feeling terribly responsible. Some of you have many, many things going on, and it all feels like a weight on your particular back. It's one of the things that probably keeps you from addressing some of the things that you need to. And You might have unnecessary burdens upon you. That might be your particular devil. Let's keep going. Qualities that give you strength. Who had this one in that exact same position? Who had that exact same position? Leo. It was Leo. So, Leo in your chart, check theirs out. Same card, same position, and I promise you there's been many a shuffle between you and them. So, the quality here is that give you strength. Do not get emotionally attached to that which you know does not serve you. Know when to walk away from things. If it no longer fulfills you in a space that is personal and correct for you, it's time to be done with it. You're telling me that's a strength. I will not get emotionally invested in or emotionally attached to people, places, things, circumstances, situations, work, love bonds, whatever. If it doesn't serve me, I see it, I feel it, I need to be able to walk away from it. I agree, that's a great strength. Okay, Knight of Wands, critical lessons that you need to learn. Something to do with your passion, your energy, your intensity, how you put yourself out there. Okay, and your future pathway. Page of Swords, I know that's not thrilling. I know it's not great. It's looking like there's an idea in you that needs to grow and expand for it to take root. Okay, for you to move on, there's something here we need to give more credence to, not less. There's something that we need to give more attention to, not less. There's something here that we need to learn more about, not less. Diminish it or minimize it. We need to bring it more to the front and center of our existence. So I know that's not mind-blowing shit, but real tarot is real life. Sometimes it starts with baby steps. Okay, so let's kick it off over here with that devil. Step 1. What do we got to acknowledge? What are we afraid of? What's our holding on pattern? What are our patterns for that matter? Show me that devil, please. Fears, stresses. Show me the devil, please. Show me the devil. Show me the devil. Show me the devil, please. Show me the devil. Step 1. Step 1. Show me that devil, please, for Gemini. Judgment. 5 of Pentacles, 6 of Swords. Ooh. You've had a hard time letting go of abandonment stuff. Okay. It's one of your driving fears. It's a driving fear, honey. Fear of abandonment. It's a real thing. And it's not pretty. It affects us a great deal, even if we don't know it. There is a lesson here with Judgment that is overdue in learning abandonment and moving on from it, specifically being afraid of abandonment. Now, not just being abandoned by other people, but having to abandon anything we set our minds or heart to. Many of you don't enter things that you would like to because you're afraid you'll have to give it up eventually, or it won't suit you, or won't be there for you in the long term. If I put too much of myself into it, it's just going to hurt me or abandon me. And this is a lesson that we need to learn with Judgment. Okay, and I have every reason to believe, for some reason, some of you are being served that lesson again soon. It feels like there's something coming up that's going to put you in a kind of testing feel like you're being tested by the universe. Hey, Gemini, you know that kind of underlying fear you have of abandonment? That's why you kind of leave things behind, or you don't get too overly involved. You're afraid it's going to hurt you or leave you eventually, and that includes starting anything in your personal goals, such as career, that kind of thing. It's time we took a look at this. There might be something coming around soon that puts you in that position of fear response. It could hurt me, or it could abandon me. So it's best not to engage with it. I feel like for many of you, something like that has come up soon, relatively recently, or it's on the verge of it. I hate to use the word test, I really do. But it kind of feels like you have one of those things hovering around you right now, or you recently did. It's the idea of we need to learn to move on from these fears, which I know is easier said than done. That's something that likely developed in childhood. 5 of Pentacles is real shit, and it goes back a long way. Okay. And it is kind of critical with that devil there. I'm not going to lie. It's a habitual fear for some of you to be left behind. But it also keeps you from engaging in things for that very reason. Love connections, work connections, life goals, personal goals, things that you aspire to, and then you might talk yourself out of saying, it's probably not going to work out. That's fear of abandonment talking. Then there's times when it's rational, right? Where it's like, well, this is what I want to do, but I don't have the resources for it, so now it's not the time. That's reasonable. That's a rational argument. And then there's the irrational arguments, and those come in fears. Fears that keep you from doing what you want. Fears that keep you from moving forward, from moving on. Okay? Fears of having to deal with abandonment again, it coming up again, and therefore it also keeps you from moving on. That's kind of sizable. It's kind of a critical lesson. And I feel like some of you are being prodded and poked by the universe as we speak about this very issue. I don't know why. But it's the first step to moving on, is to move on from the fear of abandonment. To leave it in the past, where it belongs, and not let it affect your future or dictate your decisions. You have free will. You have free will in all things. You do. But when our fears tell us we don't, we feel like we're subject to fate. It's like, it's out of my hands. Yeah. There are times when the universe interjects, and you could say it was predetermined. But for the most part, life is a compromise of we having free will and decision-making abilities, and things that are brought upon us to test us, to tell us if we're ready. Can you confront this? And I feel like many of you are at that juncture right now. What that is up to you. And that's if you resonate. But the next time you experience confrontation where it involves more of you, not less of you, and you don't know if you should put yourself into it because it might hurt you or leave you or not be there for you, take a breath, take a pause, examine that feeling, examine that kind of negative gut reaction, and see what's going on in there. Okay? I know it's terribly vague. I can't pinpoint it to any one particular situation. If I could, I'd tell you. Other than the fact that it seems to be happening now, or relatively soon. What is it that you are afraid of being abandoned by, and do you really need it? Do you really want it? Does it speak to you? Is it a good representation of you? Many of you are afraid to make that judgment call. For some of you, you're in something that you don't want to be in, but you're afraid to leave it. That's also fear of abandonment. It's not just the stuff we reject, it's also the stuff we stay in. You know what I mean? It works both ways. It works both ways. You might feel like there's some codependency attached to you, but also that is still a choice to stay in it. That's a lot of fear speaking to you, honey, and I hate that. I really do. Feelings you need to confront. Six of Cups. Soul bond energy. Show me that Six of Cups, please. Show me that Six of Cups. Show me that Six of Cups, please. Show me that Six of Cups. Feelings you need to confront. Feelings you need to confront. Feelings you need to confront. Possibly a soul bond connection that's proving difficult. What's going on here? Eight of Swords, you cannot see it. Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles. Goodness me, we didn't know what to do with the soul connection. It's part of that confusion that says this could hurt me. If I stay in it, I'd have to, if I stay in it, it could hurt me. I could abandon it. If I don't stay with it, it could abandon me. I don't want to be abandoned. It's an overwhelming fear of abandonment. It's prevented so many of you from doing things you want, and it keeps so many of you stuck in things you don't want. Okay? I have some sort of soul bond here that you're kind of threw your hands up with. I don't know what to do with it. I don't know that I do anything with it. It's not my responsibility. So the Eight of Swords, Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, that literally the translation is, I have a connection, but I don't know what my feelings are, so I'm going to take them to a headspace. And because of that, I don't know the direction that this connection could take because I don't really want to see it or feel it for what it is. And also, P.S., I don't know what to do with it. I don't know what to give to it. And so the direction of whatever this connection is got confused and muddled along the way. Okay, so we couldn't really explore it for what it is. We could not understand what it is. We could not define what it is. We didn't know what to put into it either. And it's an insistence upon confusion. So it was literally almost like a case of the blind leading the blind here. you know, we couldn't see it, so we shut it down. Or it got shut down some way, somehow, because we didn't know what to do with it. We didn't know how we felt about it, but that's insistence upon confusion. You actually already know what your feelings are for this connection. But when we tell ourselves, no, I don't know what my feelings are for this connection, the results will ensue. And we also don't know what to give to it. 1 foot in, 1 foot out, hot and cold. Okay? So this connection here that looks like some sort of soul bond, whatever that is to you, again, does not have to be significant love energies. It could be anyone whom you have that unique relationship with that you feel tied to at an energetic level that's inexplicable and you can't quite define, but you know it's with you. That's what a soul bond is. Okay? At its most basic definition. And you have unique memories with this person. It likely ties back to the past to some extent, usually an extensive past. Now, the thing is, I don't know what to do with this. I can't see it, and I don't know what my feelings are. That's not true. I'm going to push back on you about that because 8 of Swords, we must remember, is willful blindness. She could take that blindfold off anytime she wanted. But when we take our feelings to a headspace, we're going to insist upon confusion. I can't see my feelings, therefore they must not exist. And yet, in some way, we were trying to give something to it, even if we couldn't understand it. Okay? We have feelings here we need to confront. Not necessarily with that person, but with you. I see that there was a fear here. There's a fear here. Were you afraid of being hurt by this person, so you didn't engage in it the way you wanted? Were you afraid of having to abandon another construct if you entered this one? Something like that. Whatever the situation is, I can see how fear of abandonment made you feel like you didn't know what to do with this connection. My question is, did you not enter this the way you wanted? How you wanted to enter this was completely different than how you actually experienced it. Because you thought you would be hurt by it? Or because you feel honestly you cannot abandon another situation, which is also born out of fear. And I can tell you right now, there's not much love in that construct. So, part of you really wants to desire to get in connection with yourself about what happened here. Why did this end up the way it did? Why did it shut down the way it did? You know why. It's not about them or they, or getting confrontational with them. It's about how you experienced the 6 of Cups. Why did it end up like this? Because I have a strong feeling this disconnected. You want to understand why. I think you know why. There is a fear here of being left behind, or being hurt, or having to hurt and leave someone else behind. Either way, it's fear of abandonment. It's not from a construct of love. It's a fear of moving on, and also a fear of being left behind. It's playing into each other pretty strongly. Okay. 10 of Wands. Hidden energies that are influencing you. Burdens, responsibilities. Always feeling weighed down. Let's take a look at that. Show me that 10 of Wands, please. Show me that 10 of Wands, please. Show me that 10 of Wands. Show me that 10 of Wands. Show me that 10 of Wands, please. Show me that 10 of Wands. Show me that 10 of Wands, please, for Gemini. Ace of Cups, the Emperor, 5 of Wands. Oh, baby. Ooh. Oh, you got some insistence in you, honey. Oh, you got some insistence in you. Stubbornness, too. Strong will you have. Oh, yes, indeed, you must have. That Emperor, when he's not used correctly, he's an enforcer, and he's an enforcer in the worst way. You're fighting new love. Okay. You're fighting new love, which tells me the opposite is true. You very much desire it. But the Emperor's insisting nope, and it's causing heavy conflict in you. 5 of Wands, 10 of Wands, and it weighs on you a great deal. It weighs on you. Buck ton. The Emperor is coming under conflict with his own rigidity, sense of control. I got this. No. If I just suppress my instinct towards new love, I'll be fine. No. The more you suppress what your heart naturally desires, the worse that fight gets. And it's getting bigger. It stresses you out. It weighs you down. You have my sympathy, honey. It's not an accusation. You actually have my sympathy. I see you fighting what your heart desires the most. You feel the need to control everything, to push down the stress, the anger, the frustration. I know what it is. Part of you doesn't understand why you desire new love. So you combat the feeling. Okay? It's like, I don't desire that. I don't have those feelings. I shouldn't, or I'm not supposed to. It's not part of my dynamic. It's not part of who I am. Yes, it is. Very much so. And you fight yourself tooth and nail. And it weighs you down. The more you fight what you naturally feel. This is literally what this looks like. The more you fight what you naturally feel, the bigger the burden becomes. Angry, resentful of possibly a pre-existing situation that does not seem to suit you, but you feel obligated to be chained to it, even though it does not call to you anymore, spiritually or otherwise. So in that case, you fear abandoning another situation because you feel dependent upon it, or that you feel that someone's dependent upon you. This is what we call codependency. It doesn't matter which way your perception of the dependency is running. The fact of the matter is more than one person's playing into it, so this is where we come across codependency. I wasn't sure which way you were leaning towards, honey. I think, if I'm being honest with you, I think it's a little bit of both. I do. Abandonment and the fear of it specifically is twofold. I'm afraid of entering something that strongly speaks to me because it could hurt me or leave me, or it's too good to be true. The other side of that is that I'm already in something and I insist on staying in it because I'm afraid of abandoning what's there or what I've always known, even if it doesn't particularly suit me or no longer serves me. Do you see how it's two-sided? I think I'm looking at a Gemini who's experiencing a little bit of both. I swear to God, I'll put good money on that table. I will put good money on this fucking table. I'm telling you. I just know things, honey. I'm telling you. The way you fight that new love and the way you handled this connection, don't get me wrong, it takes two, but I'm not focusing on them and they. I'm seeing your process, your reaction to it. I got a soul bond here. No, I don't. I don't know what my feelings are. I'm going to give it some attention, but I'm not going to be consistent. Why? Because it's still called to you in some way. That's why. Let's get that off the fucking table right now. It called to you in some way, so you tried to give something of yourself to it, but you couldn't be consistent with it. You didn't know what you wanted. You kept saying, I don't know what my feelings are. I don't know what. I'm just going to keep plodding along, and hopefully it'll hit me. You kept plodding along in whatever this connection was, hoping the feelings would hit you or make themselves known. No, you wouldn't let them make themselves known to you. That's part of the resistance of new love. You see where I'm getting at? And all it did was cause frustration in you and anger in you, made you feel inconsistent. It made you feel inconsistent. And someone who otherwise takes pride in control of themselves, their temper. It made you feel inconsistent, flaky. I'm not saying you are flaky. Don't confuse my words. Don't misconstrue me. It's not a judgment. I'm saying what you felt in reaction to this. It made you feel inconsistent. It made you feel flaky. because you desired this new love and then turned around and said, no, you didn't. You didn't know what to do with it, so XYZ. Ipso facto, yeah? You otherwise take a great deal of strength from being your own person, from being decided and taking control of situations. And there's the root of all evils here. I'm not saying, again, I'm not saying you're evil, honey. I'm saying the root of your particular problems. Fear of being hurt by and abandoned by because you've experienced it before, and then also fear of abandoning another situation that you don't particularly care for but you say needs you. But as far as I can tell, love for this situation's not there. For this, there was almost like a threat of new love, and that's how your energy interpreted it. It was a threat of new love. I believe. Embrace the flow of life. Things do change. The more we resist the current, the harder we have to swim, the more exhausted we get. The more exhausted we make ourselves, the more we resist the current of the energies and things that are naturally happening around us and are actually probably for us. So you always feel like you're in a position of swimming up current. The more you resist it, then you're exhausted. Then you start flailing. Then you feel overwhelmed and like you're going to get sunk. Because we're not going with the flow. 8 of Cups. Oh, my knee just popped. Did you hear that? Oh, I'll tell you what. That knee is my... I'm going to tell you. Yeah, I got a tricky knee. Show me that 8 of Cups, please. Qualities that give you strength. You know how to emotionally detach, I'm sure. Show me that 8 of Cups, please. Show me that 8 of Cups, please. Or you're telling yourself you're not available, and perhaps you believe that. Perhaps it's true. Show me that 8 of Cups, please. You know how to keep yourself emotionally distant. You know how to keep yourself emotionally distant. I envy that skill. I wish I was more like that. I do. I often have to learn things the hard way about emotional investment. I'm triple Scorpio, honey. In Western astrology as well as sidereal, so I'm kind of fucked in that respect. Once I have feelings, they're real, raw, and honest. It's really hard for me to emotionally distance myself. You know, once I understand my feelings for something or someone are correct, it's really hard to disengage like that. I envy people who have this built into them. It's like I can keep myself emotionally distant at a conscious level. That's a hell of a skill. It's one I've never quite learned. The Fool, the 7 of Swords, the 2 of Swords, you emotionally detached on purpose. Oh boy. Like I said, I envy that skill. I wish I could do that at that level. I cannot. Now you could say it's not your authentic self, and I would agree. It's not. But you did it for a reason. You had the opportunity here as the Fool to open up, and 7 of Swords did. You sidestepped it. Again, not an accusation, guys. If you choose to insist it that way, that's on you. It's not on me. I don't hate the Gemini collective. I love Gemini. I love all my collectives. You know. Deliberately confusing hard messages as a judgment on my part, or that I have some sort of agenda against you, that's on you, honey. That's not on me. I can't make you see that I'm trying to help you if that's not what you want to see. And I'm sorry, your readings have been so difficult. The cards are the cards. And until the collective decides to push through this particular energy, I won't see change. That's true for everyone. Let's see. Pisces got drugged through some shit for about 6 months before I saw change in them. Cancer's been going through a rough patch. I would really like to see more emotional consistency on their side. Taurus always gets drugged through the mud. I think they're just used to it at this point. And Aries only now came out of a rough patch maybe a month ago. It has nothing to do with you. None at all. I don't know you to hate you. But I do know Gemini. I love Gemini. My best friend is a Gemini. Over 15 years. Keeps my shit level. No, I just wanted to import that upon you. I understand your last reading was rough, and you guys let me know. It's one of the reasons I turned the comments off. So many decided to take it to a personal space. And I'm sorry. But that's not what I do. It has nothing to do with you. I just want to help you understand. I see a Gemini who's in a quagmire and they don't quite understand they're in a quagmire. That's why things don't feel right. That's why you feel conflicted. That's why you feel aggravated, and then you turn around, slap yourself, and say you're not supposed to feel aggravated. It is what it is, Gemini. I don't want that for you. Why would I want that for you? You're saying I have nothing to sort through. I can move on anytime I want. That would explain why your future pathway is Page of Swords. We need to upgrade our thinking into something much more substantial. We're talking about hard truths. You had the opportunity for new love. You rejected it. Consciously or unconsciously, you did it. And the more you resist that particular flow of what looks like a connection that might have been for you, and might still be, it might still be with you or for you, the more it caused you aggravation, extreme aggravation, frustration. And it made you kind of double down on your sense of control. I have to control me. You have to control your feelings. I know you tried to put something of yourself that was natural and real into this connection, but you couldn't access it fully. That's why you couldn't put more of your authentic self in it, because you couldn't fully access it. You didn't know what your feelings were, but rather insisted you didn't know. So you showed it something, but not your true form, not your most authentic self. Your authentic self kept trying to be absent. This is where it comes from. Either fear of being hurt, or you're afraid of having to leave something that no longer suits you behind in order to engage with something new. Okay? And I think for some of you it's a little bit of both. But there it is. You said this was a strength. You said your ability to not emotionally attach to this is a strength. You snuck away, Seven of Swords, the things we tell ourselves to justify our actions, kind of like white lies. You told yourself you're not open to this, besides it's still too confusing. It's going to confuse me, it's going to confuse who I am and what I'm about. Who you are and what you're about has yet to be discovered. It's like you won't allow yourself to discover it. There's somewhere in you someone who's so much more than all this. You had the opportunity to open up, specifically to be emotionally available to someone who I believe is the very one you resist and then kick your own ass for. You tried to give something of yourself, but it wasn't your authentic self. You said you didn't know what your feelings were. Yes, you do. But when you insist that you don't, guess what? You're going to believe it. You said don't get involved, and I'm going to back away on the emotional level. You had the opportunity, I don't know when on your timeline, to open up. You did not take it. Okay? And it required some level of emotional vulnerability, some sort of emotional investment to say I'm here, and I'm showing up for it. But we didn't. Okay? I just want you to see this so you can do something about it. But it takes insight. You're having to combat yourself from the level of Eight of Swords, Two of Swords, Seven of Swords, the Devil, Five of Pentacles, Judgment. So when I tell you, it's going to take more than a Page of Swords to see all this, recognize it, accept it, acknowledge it, never mind, do something about it. We're going to need more than this. You have invested a lot. People confuse that about investment, you know. It takes as much investment from us to accept as it does to push away. They both require energy. When we accept what's right for us, we feel good. When we reject what's right for us, we feel fragmented. And then we have to justify why. And then we have to keep up that justification. And oh boy, doesn't that get exhausting? My point is, your strength, what you understood the strength to be for this situation, was a reflection born of the fears and rejecting new love, no matter how much it called to you. And it angers you a little bit, pisses you off. It's kind of like you got pissed off that you received that call at all. It's like, this shouldn't be interfering in my life at all. Well, this is just one more thing I gotta fucking deal with. Right? I often see this, and it's not just here and moving on. It's any reading type that has a strength category. When somebody has a lot of stuff behind them that suggests I haven't really looked into it, their strengths are going to reflect that. Your strengths are reflecting a fear of opening up, but you call it a strength. I consider it a strength not to become emotionally involved in this situation, which can be good if we're using it the correct way, yes. But in this instance, it wasn't a true reflection of you. It wasn't. I keep looking down at Judgment, and I don't know why. I keep looking down at Judgment. Some of you, this is very, very recent, or you're about to have an upcoming episode. Something that is a reflection of your fears of abandonment. And I don't know why. I literally, it was on the tip of my tongue of saying, Gabriel's calling you. And I don't know why. That is the Archangel Gabriel, as often depicted with the trumpet, the teller of truth. It's time, come forth, divine timing. This is the message, this is the truth, this is the honesty. Game time in terms of decision making, where the universe has brought this decision upon you. I don't know. Perhaps some of you, your name is Gabriel because I've heard it so loudly. I just thought they were emphasizing Judgment, but for some of you it's confirmation, yeah. Okay. The Knight of Wands and critical lessons that need to be learned. Show me this. Show me this Knight of Wands, please. Show me this Knight of Wands. Show me this Knight of Wands. Some of you might have some very prominent Aries in your chart. Very prominent. The Knights of Wands, please, and lessons that need to be learned. Knight of Wands, show me that Knight of Wands, show me that Knight of Wands. Show me that Knight of Wands, please. Page of Swords, twice. Nine of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles you're holding. Oh my goodness. That explains a lot. You don't give yourself nearly enough credit, do you? Confidence. To be your own person. To be your own man. To be your own woman. That you can make decisions for you. Your beautiful natural energy that you might misconstrue as negative passion is actually positive passion. So the Knight of Wands is that beautiful built-in energy we have. I know you're used to crap tarot, and you've heard it's a player. Jesus Christ. I roll my eyes on that one. The Knight of Wands Can it be a strong indication of sexual energy? Yes, of course. We all know this. That doesn't automatically mean it's bad. I, for reflection, pull Knight of Wands all the time. That is my personal energy. If I'm not psyched up and excited about what I do, I'm not doing it. End of story. As far as I'm concerned, energy is money. Energy actually has more value to me than money, because without my energy, I can't make the money. You understand? So what I put myself into, by God, I better mean it, because my energy is time. Don't waste my time. I don't like wasting my time. I like my time to be streamlined, efficient, and I better be psyched up or excited, because if something's going to get the full blast of my energy, it had damn well better be worth it. So that is what the Knight of Wands is in this context for you. You have natural energy in you. You have natural forward momentum in you. You have natural I want to do this energy in you, and it comes back to and is related to independence. You are your own person. You are your own person, and this is exactly what you need to open your eyes towards. Nothing happens without your say-so, okay? Nothing can happen to you without your say-so. It's what you choose to invest in. If you invest in something and it's not that great, but you're afraid to lose it, that's not independence, that's codependency. If you're afraid to invest in something because you think it's going to hurt you, that's just another form of fear of abandonment. But none of it, baby, none of it, mark my fucking words, none of that comes from a place of independence. And you, I got news for you, you desire independence. You desire freedom from yourself. You desire to be free of holding back from you. That's all a fear abandonment is. It's just another version of it. If we want to be ourselves, if we want to stand tall, proud, and beautiful in the garden of our own design, which this is something I personally take pride in with the Nine of Pentacles. I probably identify more with this card. In fact, these two combined are pretty much my day-to-day. This is what I'm good at. Get out of my way. I do me, baby. I do me. Does it get me into trouble sometimes because I'm so damn stubborn and say I can do it this way? Yeah. But does it generally work for me? Yeah. That's exactly what you want, and that's exactly what you hold back from. When you're not afraid of abandonment, you're not afraid of yourself. Do you get that? You've told me repeatedly, you're afraid of yourself. You're afraid of your own natural energy. You're afraid of your own energy that says, so this is what you do. You whip out your Emperor to control everything, the negative energy that you feel. You call it a strength, even though you actually do want to get emotionally involved. You do want to get emotionally invested. You don't want to sneak away from this opportunity, yet you did. You call it a strength. Why? It's more that suppression and control that he's doing. Again, the Emperor and Empress are the most beautiful energies in tarot. It's what we do with them that counts. All cards have pros and cons. All of them. You could have just as easily showed me the Empress and I would have said the same damn thing. Self-empowerment. We're confusing self-empowerment with the need to control and suppress. Because we're afraid we'll lose it, or we'll have to abandon something else that even though it's not really good for us, or doesn't really serve you anymore, but I still got to hold on to it. All you're doing is holding back from yourself. That Page of Swords has too much little insight about his capability, his own knowledge, his own experience. We're holding back from our true selves. You've got the energy, baby. You've got lovely natural energy in you that wants independence, that prizes more independence and doesn't want to be afraid anymore. You can't get here without having made mistakes. You can't get here without having some sort of trial and error. But the point is that you get here because you did in fact have trial and error. True independence, it says, you know what? If I make mistakes along the way, I own that shit. But also, therefore, I get to claim my successes. And you only get to that point when you know you're independent. That you're not making decisions based in fear, but you're making decisions based on you, who you really are. It almost looks like you're afraid to come into your own. To be so self-claiming. To really go after what you want. But we need more insight than that Page of Swords. The power is within you. But you have to know that. I know the Emperor's like, I got it, I got it, I got it. And the more he says I got it, the more pissed off he gets. Again, he's not being used correctly. Nine of Pentacles is lovely, free, independent energy. It says ownership. I got this. I got this. I don't need to say I got it and make believe. I know I do. Do you see the difference? That's forcible thinking versus actually living it. That's why you're angry and pissed off, because you don't believe yourself. When you say, no, that's not good for me. I'm gonna back away from that. Nope, I insist. Then why are you so mad? If you really believed that whatever this wasn't good for you, there's no reason for you to be upset about it. I tell people all the time, the more you insist and insist and insist something is true, usually the opposite is true. It's just our willingness to look at it. That's what counts. Page of Swords. The future paths. I hope he expands. I do. I hope that Page of Swords expands, honey, because I know your version of moving on is just to get control of this fucking thing, right? Get control of these feelings and you'll be fine. That's not moving on. That's forcible. God, it's forcible thinking. It's not really you. Page of Swords. Page of Swords. You are going against the flow of who you are and what you want, and feeling that you have to stay with what you have. I don't know what that is. I'm not doing an M&A. I just know it doesn't look good for you. The abandonment issues, afraid to enter new things because it'll hurt you or leave you, or because you have to leave and abandon something else that you say needs you, or that you need it, even though it's not true. It looks like something that was meant to be left a long time ago. Knight of Swords, the Magician, the High Priestess. You are trying to get a stronger feeling for your intuition. It's a little rough with the Knight of Swords. I don't think you take as much time to listen to yourself as you should. But you are trying to pull in more for yourself a sense of direction that has nothing to do with the complications of the current situation. You are trying to evoke more sense of, I need guidance. Good. I do. Perhaps some of you started doing or practicing affirmation speeches, such as, I am manifesting this intentionally, I am manifesting this intentionally, I am manifesting understanding about this. So you're trying to pull more knowledge towards you. Try not to rush it. Okay? But I see you wanting to gain more insight. So that's good. I wanted to see that Page of Swords amplify into something stronger, and I think that's the direction you're going to be taking in your effort to better understand how you can move on. I just don't want you to reject the intuition when it comes to you, because it is going to hit you. And if that Page of Swords doesn't up the ante of his knowledge, you will reject what your intuition's telling you. So do be careful, okay? The whole point of the Page of Swords, little guy. And he admits, he's the first one to admit, I don't know shit. So I'm going to sit here and watch and try to figure things out. And on that premise of trying to understand, his knowledge base should expand. Okay? I know you are trying to manifest more feeling for yourself. You are trying to manifest a stronger sense of direction for yourself. So when that intuition hits you, and it's gonna, I want you to be in a position to receive it, not reject it. I wonder what your intuition will tell you. No. It's kind of like saying, Gemini, honey, how do you want to move on? And you're saying to me, I don't need to move on. You know, I just need to control and everything will be fine. And it's not working out that way. Again, what happens when we use our Emperor for bad, not for good? And you're not trying to be bad, honey. I'm not saying you're a bad person. What I'm saying is that there's some shit here that needs to be addressed. And it has 100% the origin story of abandonment written all over it. And it's kept you from entering new things that are right for you. You tried to give something to it, but it wasn't consistent. And it keeps you stuck in things that no longer serve you. And they probably haven't for a long time. So it's really hard to kind of get a reading for someone. How do you want to move on when you say there's nothing to move on from? I just need to control it and everything will be fine. It's not. How's that been working out? Show me. Advice, please, for Gemini. Advice, please, for Gemini. Advice, please, for Gemini. Advice, please, for Gemini. The Hierophant. 9 of Cups. 2 of Cups. Oh. Yeah. I don't know what to tell you, honey. I got a spiritual connection with your name written on it. There's a spiritual part of you with the Hierophant that knows you strongly desire love, the kind that feeds you. It doesn't just take away from you or deplete you or make you feel empty or that you have to have it around. That's not love, that's codependency. Okay? The bigger part of you that is so much more spiritually inclined desires unified love for yourself and unified love with someone else. A Devil and a 5 of Pentacles, Judgment. This is not love. It's not love. It's fear to let go. It's fear to enter in something new. It's a little bit of both for the Gemini I'm looking at. There is a big part of you that's deeply spiritual, your higher self, that knows it should be gravitating to true self-fulfillment and loving yourself and loving someone who loves you too. It's so much bigger than everything you've experienced. Your higher self knows that you should love you and that someone else should love you in equal measure. Ask yourself from this point forward, is anything I'm doing, is it for love of me? Am I loving myself? Is this, the decisions I'm making, are they a true reflection of me? Of my desires and love? Am I connected to someone spiritually in that way? Who loves me in equal measure? Because your higher self wants that very much. So recognize it. So the question becomes, does this apply to this? And could this apply to something else? Which version of this are you getting? From which source? Is this being fulfilled? Is your higher self satisfied with how much you love you and with how much someone else loves you too? I want to see more of this manifestation principle. I can see you wanting to listen more to intuition. You're desiring it very much. You want to be told by the universe, one way or the other, what direction you're supposed to take. I understand that feeling, I do. But again, when it whispers to you at night, not like the devil whispers. The intuition whispers are different. Are you going to hear it? Will you allow yourself to hear it? Will you allow yourself to be navigated by it? Will you allow yourself to go with the flow? That's really what intuition is going with the flow, the pace of the universe, as things are presented to you. Are you accepting them and rejecting them, or what are you holding on to? Ace of Pentacles, the Hanged Man, the Fool, You may not yet believe it. I have an offer on hold for you. It will prompt your spirit energy to open up towards it once more. You want to know if that offer is correct for you. In other words, when it's being presented, I do not know. And you're going to go into Hanged Man, and you're going to give it a bit of a pause to see if you should open up towards this realistically, in the real world. You are asking very much for your intuition to guide you about what to do in a particular situation, one that requires your real work and investment. What area of your life that unfolds in, I do not know. Love, work, both, any of it, all of it, I don't know. And you will come across that fork in the road, but I tell you this, that Page of Swords needs to amplify. That way, when your intuition does kick in about what to do, and should you take it, should you open up towards it, you will listen to it. Really listen to it. I don't know what that offer will be. I saw your Fool pop out once and you rejected him. It had to do with emotional vulnerability and being available to something. I believe it was this. All I can do is read the energies, guys. And it looks like you have something coming up for you that's going to put you in that position of opening up once more. If I'm being honest, I see you contemplating extending an offer outside of you. I don't know that's necessarily coming towards you. And I think that's why you're taking a pause. You're asking the universe, what should I do about this? Should I put something into it? Specifically, should you put your real, authentic self into it? If you can access that part. I don't know. I'm terribly curious. It's them. Okay. 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 It's them. I don't need to go further. It's them. Okay. That Six of Cups, the feelings we need to confront. Your insistence that you didn't have any. So then why did you try to put something of yourself into it? Once you answer that question, I think things will fall into place for you. I see you contemplating opening up and initiating something. With the Ace of Pentacles, you're asking the universe if you should. Let your intuition guide you. The form it takes, expression to that Six of Cups, some sort of expression. The very thing that we didn't do back here. Do you see how we can reverse our energies if we allow ourselves to see things differently? To act towards them differently, to feel towards them differently. Well, acknowledge that we have feelings there at all. That's a start. We did not allow our Fool to activate when it came our time to be emotionally open. We thought it was a strength, but you see now how that strength has wreaked havoc on you and your energy and how you perceive yourself. So we know it's a false strength. It's what we told ourselves at the time to make sense of the situation. I understand. And now we see our Fool, but it's you contemplating putting something out there. I don't think it's coming towards you. It's you going out. I wanted to know where. That Six of Cups. The emotional energy we could not feel we could spare towards this. You are relinquishing some of it in some way. Some sort of open expression. Something to do with your real feeling. Something to do with perhaps even some vulnerability. I do not know when you're addressing it, but you are asking the universe to help you guide you in this way. Continue to do so. And when you receive your answer via your intuition or your Hierophant, listen to it. You know what it is? I'll tell you what it is, honey. It's not hard. It's not rocket science. You want love. One that doesn't feel unhealthy or chained. Something that speaks more to who you are as a person. An independent person. Someone who doesn't feel like they are dogged by fears and subject to the fates. That's it. I didn't know that they were completely dismissed. You didn't know what to do with them before. You can change that. Nothing's ever too late, not really. You can't control other people's responses, that's true. I'm living proof of that every day. You cannot control other people's reactions or responses. But you can control yours, the real kind of control. Not the control you impede and force upon yourself that you don't actually want, the real kind, where the flow feels natural to you. You can keep swimming upstream, but I see in your future you have a chance to swim downstream. Your energy becomes more loose, and it feels more like you. And that's going to be a scary proposition for some of you. Some of you have not felt like you in a long time. I don't know what this is. I don't like it. I don't know. Oh, my. In for a penny, in for a pound, yeah? Fuck it. Jeez. Emperor's King of Wands, the Sun. Who is this to you? Who is this to you? Some of you have very strong Leo in your chart. I see. I got sunshine and rainbows for you, honey. I got sunshine and fucking rainbows for you. You can quote me. Wow. You must know that. Jesus. The way you had to fight this thing off, no wonder you're angry. Sorry, it's just, that's quite captivating. I see. Something that you could have a very strong connection with. Very. The everything, the kind of end all be all, happiest fucking card in the deck. The king is satisfied. Very satisfied, because he gets to say someone special is his. And as I was reflecting upon that, I have a marked contrast. Sagittarian energy, Scorpio energy, of something here that represents comfort and self-worth, but not really. It no longer is comforting, and it is no longer a reflection of your worth. It looks like it's something that cannot be healed, but we're still trying to keep up the pretext that it can be. I have to admit, I was focusing on your higher self-love energy, and I saw this. And then I said, well, what the hell is that? Something that looks like it's over, but we haven't accepted it yet. We keep giving it patience. It's a representation of our old sense of self-worth and self-value that no longer applies to us. But we keep hoping with patience and time it'll mean something once more. I believe this is the reflection of the fear of abandonment. Do be mindful, okay, that you are pulling in what looks like a solution, I believe, to a soul one, because you want to. That's why you're asking the universe for guidance. You will receive guidance. You will. And as far as I can tell, your inclination is to open up and to be vulnerable for reasons as we've discussed. It looks like it's a good reflection of who you are and what you desire most. Love. The other situation, however, as far as I can tell, is still at play, or it's something that's over and you haven't gotten over it. Okay? All I can do is tell you the energies that are available to you, or not. But they're still part of our lives. Alright? I want what's best for you, and I believe you're a Gemini who's beginning to understand what's best for you too. It's taken you a long time to get there. And you still have work to do. But one of the first things you can stop doing, okay, is pretending you don't want to love. It may not be from the source you had intended or expected, but nevertheless it is showing up for you. And it is provoking fears of abandonment that are both old and fresh. And it seems to be upon you. I just want you to be aware of these things because I think that's a good trade-off for learning what we need to learn. Someone here is very maternal. Very maternal, very loving. And if that's you, someone's very, very proud to have you. Potentially. And if that's you, you are very, very proud to have this person. Sun's out, warmth is out, love is out, generosity is out, sense of passion and direction is out, feeling like our own men and own women is out. No charms. No charms today, no time checks. I really don't know when your Page of Swords process will start. But it looks like it will lead you to good things in terms of what to do. I don't know. Secret admirer. Yes, we have admiration for somebody in a low-key kind of way, but we keep ourselves busy and distracted. I know. I saw. I know. Generous offer. The generosity is in here. I see that. And then also there you are contemplating it. Should I extend this forward, whatever that is? I don't know. Congratulations. Happy birthday. I have no idea. But you are manifesting it, like I said. Couldn't make this shit up if I tried. Generous offer, you are manifesting it. Putting yourself forward, but the idea behind it is this. Okay. Okay. Anything else in here, please? Crossroads. Forming that new friendship. Okay. Think of it as that. Just you're at that crossroads. Okay. And then developing something new for yourself. forging something new. Here's the implication of new, but with sincerity and real effort, behind a pre-existing construct. Okay. All right, let's sorry, Gemini. The more complicated ones obviously take longer. Okay. Health. Health issues could arise. Why is everybody getting this? Some of you do be mindful of your health, please, at this time. For some of you, yeah, I mean, it's there. I can't say that it isn't. I mean, your soul bond energy is obviously default water. That doesn't necessarily mean it's a water sign, but for some of you, that special person is Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. And for others of you, this is an indication of your heart's not where you want it to be. Okay. Vacation. You will be traveling soon. For some of you who have planned work travel, vacation plans, I don't know. But that's for some of you. Pets. Some of you are getting a new pet, or you're very attached to your pet, or like your pet's with you right now, and that's confirmation. It's not the right time. So for some of you, now is not the right time. I actually have to agree. Once you start manifesting answers from the universe, you actually have to be plugged in to your intuition to understand the feedback you're getting. So no, now is not the time. I just know that when you do receive the answer, I want you to be open to it. Listen to yourself instead of shutting things down, because it might seem easier at the moment to do that, but honestly, it just costs you more in the long term. Okay? It costs you more in terms of moving on what it is that you desire, but you have to know what it is that you desire. You have to know what your goals are in order to move on. And right now, the only thing I see you moving on towards is that you really aggressively want to leave this behind, but you can't because you're not done with it. You leaving behind is not a true reflection of you and what you want. So you're manifesting an answer, and you will be receiving an answer shortly. And then after that, you'll have an idea of what to do. Okay? Okay. Embrace the flow of life. Listen to yourself more. And guys, this is free will, you know? If you have no idea what I'm talking about, like I said, it's not for you. Don't worry about it. Okay, check your placements. For others of you, if you're happy in your situation and you generally know that, then again, this doesn't apply to you. If you have no fear of it, you have no abandonment issues at all, and you don't feel like you're keeping yourself stuck in a situation that no longer serves you, this isn't for you. If you're not that Gemini who did not willfully shut a connection down because you couldn't get emotionally involved and you told yourself that was a good thing even though you very much desired it, and then you said, no, I don't, then again, it's not for you. This one is obviously complex. I really want to see the Gemini collective push through into other things, but it's not about what I want, and it's not about what I desire. It's what the collective is capable of doing. Okay? So for you, like, man, I haven't been in touch with my Gemini collective forever. I just don't resonate with any of these readings. There's a good chance you need to be checking other placements, because the collective is clearly going through something complicated. I've been seeing it for months. Okay? And like I said, it is not personal, honey. It's not. It's not. I get passionate. I do. I admit that freely. I always have. I get very passionate because I get involved. I get involved because I care. If you wanted a Mayo tarot reader who could give a fuck about what you're going through and just kind of vaguely describe shit, you can throw the rock equivalent on YouTube and hit one of them. They're like a dime a dozen. Okay? It takes balls, man. It takes balls to do the real shit. Because you're going to get real feedback from people and real kickback. So does that tell you I care or that I don't care? You think I'm giving you shit? You guys will give it back too. But I'm not giving you shit. But I understand and appreciate well, your point of view. Is it frustrating? Mm-hmm. Am I still doing what I do? Mm-hmm. Does that change my wants for you? Not at all. I want what you want. But you have to know that you want it. I'm keeping my fingers crossed for Gemini season, where I can see more of that energy make advances and strides. Because I want you to succeed, not hold yourself back. And that means looking at the hard shit. Okay? Gemini. I was about to say put in the comments as you see fit, but the comments are closed. Much needed break on my end. Okay? I will see you in approximately 2 weeks. We will resume our normal schedule of the in-depth yours and theirs, a channel favorite. Okay? So we'll see you then. I do hope you are well. And take care. And be well.